to dive a bit deeper into what integrated marketing campaigns are. I wanted to explain more about what do I do and the agency I have founded, besides what Mara has explained already, which is great. And then we will take a look at the reason, the why behind the topic of integrated marketing. So my name is Adriana. I'm the founder of Vixx, a digital agency. We specialize in helping businesses to increase sales through their marketing strategies. And so after working more than 9 years in technology, marketing, very highly competitive field, I realized that in all these sectors I've worked, I always have helped other organizations to grow in some way, either financially by creating new products, by offering services that bring in new clients and increase revenue. So my main goal was to understand how could I continue serving other companies and align their marketing strategies and help them grow. This is when Vixx comes into place as an agency that has a holistic overview of a company's marketing activities. So we are always looking for new ways to implement growth strategies. We review each one of a company's marketing activities, be it content, CRM, SEO, to detect gaps and improvement opportunities. We then implement marketing strategies that help them cover these gaps and also, just taking their business to the next level. So, well, growth and revenue sounds great. But how do you know that you're growing when you're growing? If you haven't implemented, for instance, key performance indicators, or how do you know that the return on investment of your marketing campaigns is positive if you haven't tracked your marketing efforts? So this is something we are going to be talking about today. So to start with, we're going to talk about what integrated marketing campaigns are. We're going to understand a bit more about the difference between traditional and agile marketing. We're going to see which are the benefits of agile strategies in marketing, and also why companies still struggle to integrate their marketing activities and what benefits this integration could bring to a company. And then the last step will be what strategies you can use to build your own campaigns, and an example of which are the best practices, and so on. So let's start with what is integrated marketing. So integrated marketing is not a new concept. It has been here for a while, and it started to gain more importance as more marketing channels appeared, as the proliferation of marketing channels and industry-specific challenges appeared. So this has led consumers to continuously being bombarded with new information, content, advertisement, and so on. Actually, in 2000, Microsoft made a study to estimate how long people can focus on one thing at a time, and they discovered that their attention span was at that time of 12 seconds. They made the same study 15 years later, and they discovered that the attention span of the average person has reduced to 8 seconds. And the trend is that this is going to decrease, so our attention span is going to continue decreasing. In this new scenario, it's just very difficult to stand out, cut through the noise and information overload. So what effect this has on businesses is that this requires a company to create a strong strategy and a consistent messaging across the user journey. So let's take as an example, for instance, according to HubSpot, which is a reference in the marketing world, the way they define integrated marketing is by, they define it as a process of arranging your different marketing channels to work in tandem to promote your products or services, typically through a strategic campaign. It also works to align your primary brand message that's being delivered through your marketing channels and assets. A very simple example is when you're scrolling through your Instagram and you're seeing a new brand, and later on you decide you want to check their website, for instance, and you see that the message doesn't match. So that's like a perfect example of how you marketing can go wrong when you don't have the same message on all your marketing channels. So the ultimate goal is to create a consistent experience across all your channels and deliver results for your brand. But I think it's easier to understand this with the cooking process. So when you start cooking, you don't put all the ingredients at the same time. What you do is that, and you don't put the ingredients at the same time, and at the end, then you expect to have a well-prepared dish. So as you cook your dish, you start putting other ingredients and test if that dish is coming out as you wanted or according to your standards. So the same happens in marketing and with integrated marketing campaigns. So how does this work then? So we have an end goal in mind. Here is your dish. And as you start finding which channels your customers communicate on, which are the best strategies to target them, you create that optimal combination of marketing channels to target your users with less effort and in less time. So let's see now a couple of things that you can avoid when preparing an integrated marketing campaign. Okay. Yeah. So there are a couple of things that you want to avoid when creating marketing campaigns, and is duplication of efforts, role confusion of who is doing what, this can lead to a lack of accountability. When business goals are not aligned with marketing goals, and when the technologies that you're using in your company is not supporting your marketing efforts. So to avoid this, to avoid duplication of content, we're going to use, for instance, one piece of content that can be redistributed across multiple channels. You can align your marketing and business goals. You can define the roles within your team so you can make accountable each person for the task they are assigned to. And lastly, you want to use a technology stack that actually supports your marketing efforts. But I think this is going to be easier if you see some example of what can happen when the strategies are not done correctly. So for instance, in 2015, for decades, Vixx brand has been known for producing durable pens and stationery products. But in 2015, they launched a campaign, Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man, on Women's Day using social media adverts. So despite being launched at the perfect time on a widely celebrated event, the brand's discriminatory message led to a huge level of social media backlash and negative press. The lesson to learn from this example is that when creating a campaign, you should check that all the content is positive, is supportive, and is constructed in a way that is inclusive for everyone. Another example of this is the chain Gourmet Burger Kitchen, which is a chain of over 60 restaurants in the UK. So in 2016, they launched an anti-vegetarian campaign which caused a massive social media backlash coming from both vegetarians and their supporters. They had prepared from content to social media and advertisement strategy for this. And all the efforts received such negative feedback, they had to take down all their ads. And the lesson to learn from this is that your campaigns should be positive, empowering, inclusive again, and delivered with an ample level of preparation. So the conclusion from this is that none of these companies had as goal to receive such a negative feedback. All of them explained clearly why your marketing activities need to be cohesive, coherent, and integrated. So let's see now more reasons why the difference between agile and traditional marketing and how agile marketing fits into integrated marketing campaigns. So the way up until now, or the traditional way of doing marketing before was having a big strategy, then you have a small sample with users on which you test these strategies, you adjust, you launch your campaign, and then you measure. What happens with traditional is that these processes tend to be very long. You would start a campaign at the beginning of the year, and then as you go, you launch the campaign, right? So by the time you measure it, you don't have accurate information. And by the time you're preparing the new strategy based on the previous insights of the previous strategy, you're not going to prepare the right strategy because you don't have the correct data, right? So this leads to big ideas, big launches, and big budgets, but it's not the same output. Instead, with agile marketing, what we do is that we prepare a small strategy, we test it, we gain quickly some insights, and then we prepare other strategies. So by doing smaller strategies, we are getting constant feedback about our target audience, about which are the best channels to target them on, and we know which is their behavior. So just to see it like a bit more clear, which is like the difference between traditional and agile marketing processes. The starting point is the same, although the agile methodology seems to take longer, but it's actually not true. What happens is that by doing more experiments, you reach to your customer at the right time and with the right offer. Whereas with traditional marketing, what you do is you have one go and you meet your client at the point where it's not ready to purchase maybe, or where you're not meeting their expectations. And to see also a bit like the benefits of agile marketing. So you can have a visibility of the overall project status. You can see in every moment what's happening. You can have better team alignment on priorities, better work division. You get things really much faster than with traditional marketing. You have improved quality of work, improved teamwork and morale, because your team members are not going to compete against each other to achieve goals. They are going to work together to achieve the same goal. And then, of course, you can identify roadblocks and problems much faster. So with all these benefits that integrated marketing campaigns have, why companies still struggle to implement them? And there are 4 challenges we have identified. The first one being lack of resources and expertise. So the integration of marketing channels takes time to implement, and also it requires to a certain degree a level of expertise. So that means that you need to shift from seeing each marketing channel as a single entity, each one. You see all your marketing channels as one entity to achieve your goals. The second challenge we have identified is data gathering. So these campaigns are very data-driven to make an impact on your business. You can estimate the impact these campaigns have. So to make sure that that happens, you need to put in place the right data gathering processes. And the third challenge is analyzing and measuring data. So this requires measuring success and data points across many channels. So you need to work with your team, and together you need to decide what success looks like, because depending on what success looks like for you, you need to gather certain data. And then you need to, of course, review the results and make sure that you make all the corrections necessary. And the fourth one, and I think this is very, very important, which is company culture. So all this is not possible without a culture that supports collaboration, efficient level of communication, and to a certain level, creativity to launch a project. So let's see how effective these strategies are. So, for instance, shoppers who buy from a business in store and online have a 30% higher lifetime value than those who shop only using one channel. Now, this is applied mainly to retail, but it can be easily applied to a product and another type of product, digital or physical, or also service. Companies with omnichannel customer engagement strategies retain on average 89% of their customers. The customer satisfaction is 20 times higher in companies who run omnichannel strategies. And then you also have 3 times more higher effectiveness compared to companies that use non-integrated campaigns. Customers on the receiving end of omnichannel marketing campaigns spend 10 times more than those who aren't. And lastly, companies with extremely strong omnichannel customer engagement see a 9.5% year-over-year increase in revenue. So as you can see, it has a lot of benefits, integrated marketing campaign, over your retention, your customer retention, your revenue, the way your your clients perceive your brand. So now it's time we are reaching towards the end of this presentation, and we're going to start talking now how you can start implementing this in your own company. And for this, we're going to use the WAIT framework developed by Smart Insights. So with this framework, you are able to implement it each one of the phases in your company, and we're going to give a couple of insights about how to do that. So as we can see, the first thing you can do when you start is to plan, is to define your goals and strategy. So every campaign requires you to start planning which are the steps you're going to take to get your campaign right. So this requires you to do some research, market research, audience research, know a bit more who is your customer, which is their journey to reach your product or service. And then you make a plan for each touch point a customer can have with your brand across their buyer journey. So this allows you basically to have a general overview of what channels you need to align with your brand and messaging. So the second step is reach. In this phase is, so once you have your plan, now it's just time to take action. And to do that, you need to pick the most cost-effective channels of communication and start creating content and promoting it on the platforms chosen. So with this content, what you do is that you're attracting the first visitors to your other social media channels, to your website, to your offer, landing page, and so on. we know, even for us as years, is very, it can be challenging to start creating content from scratch and come up with all sorts of ideas. So for that reason, we have this diagram that helps us, guide us to prepare content. And it takes into account two aspects. The first one being the awareness level of our customer and the emotional level. So the less aware a customer is about our product or service, we're going to prepare more generic information like articles, infographics, guides, and so on. As they get closer to the buying or to the purchase phase, we are going to give them more reasons about why they need to purchase by providing them with testimonials, case studies, checklists. So it's very specific information that addresses directly their pain points and answers all the questions that they might have before hiring or buying the product or service. In the act phase, so the act phase is about, well, now your users know about yourself, what happens next? So the act phase is your users are a step closer to purchasing from you. So in this way, for instance, on your website, you should have contact forms. You should be creating accounts to collect more information about them and to try to contact them to continue offering more information, more value about your service or product. The most difficult parts tend to be the planning and interacting phase, because it's when you're trying to get users to know you, and it's difficult and challenging to capture that noise. Once they are in the act phase, that means they are more interested, they have expressed an interest in your brand and in your product or service to a certain level. Now it's on you, for instance, to make sure that the information that you have on your website or other digital assets is providing value. So it converts, and those visitors get in touch with you or fill your forms or let their details on the website. And the last part, convert. Well, once you have all the details, the convert stage is about the actions you're going to take to convince your leads why they should become a paying customer. So you want to make sure in this stage that you implement all the necessary actions to reduce anxiety and provide additional value to your lead. And the last phase, which is engage. So at this point in the engage phase, your customer has already purchased from you, right? But the work isn't over when a conversion is complete. You want to make sure that you continue to get in touch with your customer at some point. So basically, long-term brand engagement is something really powerful that builds brand loyalty, repeat purchases, and endorsements via word of mouth. So you want to achieve more than just one-time paying customers. You want to turn your customers into loyal customers and brand ambassadors for this word of mouth to happen, for this brand loyalty to happen. So this is the framework, and this is a very general overview of what should happen at each stage. Now it's time to define it. So let's see how this would look if we would apply the RACE framework into an integrated marketing campaign. So how would this look? And what actions should we take? So this will change depending on the industry. This will change depending on the marketing channels you're using, who you're targeting, if you're targeting your business, if you're targeting a consumer. So you need to adjust. But for instance, in the reach phase, we would start with something like SEO, content marketing, just to make people aware of the existence of our product or service. The next phase would be the act phase. So in this phase, we prepare more specific information, such as a website, a LinkedIn page, and an influencer, outreach campaign, remarketing. So one of the tactics used in the reach phase is paid advertisement. So in the second phase, we want to retarget those the visitors that have expressed some sort of interest in our product or service. And then the convert phase is we have their details, we have their information. So what do we do? Well, we can prepare webinars, we can prepare lead nurturing email campaigns that convince users to purchase from ourselves. And then how do you engage them? So after clients have purchased, well, we continue engaging them via newsletters, user groups. Nowadays, communities are starting to trend, so it's a good way to continue getting in touch with your customer, but also allowing them to become brand ambassadors or loyal customers to continue promoting this company. So this is how this integrated marketing campaign would look like. So just as a conclusion and to end this is integrated marketing campaigns can help you to prioritize personalization and customer experience. You can build a culture of collaboration in which all your team works together to achieve the same goal. So also in terms of investing in integrated marketing, it can drive return on investment in 3 ways. The first one being, well, it improves marketing revenue and improves performance. It builds brand equity with consistent messaging across all touch points. I think this is something that's very important to take into account, that we should have the same message on each platform we are communicating to avoid confusion and to be consistent, and improve operational efficiency and team agility. So we went through agile methodologies and processes to implement this campaign in less time, less budget, and with better insights. So marketing is not that expensive at the end of the day. It's just the way we approach it and the way we implement it. Yeah. So I'd like to thank you for participating, and also I think now is time for us to answer some questions. So if you have questions, please let us know.
Yeah, hi. Now you can yourself, like if you have any questions, you can use the chat, or you can just well, activate the video on the microphone, and feel free to ask any questions now that you have Adriana here. Thank you. It was interesting.
Thank you. Well, actually, one last thing. So the ebook that we're going to be providing and Mari is going to send is going to be, we haven't touched as much on the technological part, which was one of the challenges companies have. So to somehow solve this problem, we have prepared an ebook that is basically focused to explain that technological part. We work closely with HubSpot currently, which is the main CRM, like the most complex tool, to implement marketing strategies for our clients as well. And it's about how technology can support your marketing efforts. So it's just a good example for doing that.
Nice. Is there any question? Feel free to open your microphones and ask. I would like to ask, like, which platform or which channel do you think is the most convenient to create this engagement with your clients?
It depends. So let's say the backbone of your business is going to always be your website. It's where all the people are going to land on when you launch such strategy. And then, for instance, a typical example we have is with B2B, business to business. So which are the best channels we can use for that? Usually it tends to be LinkedIn nowadays. It's professional. It's for, you will find the CEOs of the companies you're going to target. So when you choose the channels, you need to take into account who are you targeting and which channels these people are going to use to communicate more often. It can be a social media platform, it can be a magazine, it can be a webinar. So you need to know who they are and also what type of content they check when they check online. So it's a combination of both to try to get them engaged.
Yeah. So the conclusion is that you have to know your clients.
Exactly. You have to do research, and this can be done based on the clients that you currently have. So if we would get into a company, for instance, we check where the customers came from, what information or what made they decide to hire certain, and then from there on, we can take conclusions, right? We see which channels they used, or I think customer interviews are the best way to reach those conclusions because it exists in data. If you don't have that information, you have a lot of forums, you have a lot of resources where you can see what your clients are doing.
Yeah. Thank you. Is there any other question? I think you made it really clear.
Well, if you have any questions, feel free to.
Yeah.
If it's in Spanish, it doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, we're speaking English, but if you want to speak your question, well, to have your question in Spanish or Catalan, you can always. Yeah. And if not, well, we can give you the contact of Adriana. When I send you the question form, you can always come back to me and ask me about Adriana's contact, and she will be there to answer your question. Maybe.
That's a great point. So if you have any questions, you can write me an email or you can book a meeting. I guess this presentation it can be sent as well. So,
we're gonna send the link of the recording. So in the recording there's a presentation. So you are also gonna get that.
Yeah. So you can book a meeting or you can send me an email directly for any question you may have. I'm always happy to answer.
Exactly. So well, if there's no questions, we leave the presentation here. Thank you, Adriana, for your time. It was so interesting. And I hope you all apply the advices that Adriana gave us. Yeah. Thank you very much for coming today.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Adriana.
Thank you. Oh, you can also reach me on LinkedIn. I'm very active there. So that's another way.
Yeah, it always works.
Yeah, it's quick and it's quite convenient. I haven't put, but it's, Adriana Belay.
Yeah, it's a good social media for that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. We close the meeting. Bye.
Bye-bye.